So I couldn't have planned a more perfect final speaker than if I'd actually tried. It just came together the way these things do. So the platform is yours.
Thank you very much.
Take this one or this one? Would you prefer? Okay.
That one working? Cool. So, yeah. My name's John, and I'll explain a bit more who I am and what I'm about and why you've never heard of me or seen me anywhere in a minute.
Forward, back.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. I'll explain why and how I ended up looking like a caveman crossed with Tarzan. But, yeah. Adapt we must, like David said, adapt we must. And human beings are the most adaptable species on the planet, which is why we're everywhere. Deep at the bottom of the sea, high up in the sky, in the hot and the cold, we are everywhere. We are the most adaptable species. And the reason we're most adaptable is because of these. If we were given hooves, we'd be drinking out the rivers on our legs. We wouldn't be able to start fire, wouldn't be able to make any tools. We would be so unadaptable if it wasn't for these. Because of our hands, this is what makes us the most adaptable species on the planet. We are the tool makers. Hair doesn't grow out of our backs. We create our clothes with these. These are incredible, absolutely incredible. These are the things that make us super, super adaptable. So, how did I end up getting like that? It started off very, very simply, just like a normal camper. I had a Euro hike rucksack, a blue tarp, and no skills, no nothing. I just got into camping years and years and years ago. Stayed into camping, and then one day I met somebody through camping that was like, you know, we were chatting, and he was like, you know what's going on. And I was like, what do you mean, know what's going on? He's like, you know what's going on in the world. And I was like, no. And he's like, mentioned a few things, and he was like, look into it. So I had a look into it, and pretty quickly I was like, oh dear. So, well, luckily the camping I was into, my friend, he was a lot more experienced than me in bushcraft, so I was like, right, if the world's looking a bit, then these bushcraft and camping skills that I'm starting to get into, these could be really, really useful. But as this journey's gone on, I've started off with a camping cook pot and a rucksack and all the gear and all the stuff, and I'm going out and I'm camping and practicing, and slowly as time goes on, I'm starting to realise that, hold on, a lot of this equipment doesn't last. It's not very good. I mean, plastic melts near the fire, doesn't last near barbed wire. A lot of the kit, like the firelighters, when they run out or they get in the wet, they don't work, a lot of this stuff. And this whole journey through kit and figuring stuff out, I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to rely on this stuff. And how on earth did our ancestors actually survive? They had none of this. They had no steel containers. They didn't have the kind of clothing we've got now. They had no firelighters. They had nothing. And I always was wondering how on earth did our ancestors actually live? And like synchronicity would have it with the way the universe goes, like literally the next day after thinking like that, I just so happened to put the internet on and came across a gentleman named Tom Brown Jr. He's not very well known, but when I saw Tom, I was like, wow, you're the first guy that I've heard talk that actually really has got some of the ancient knowledge of how human beings lived years and years ago. Like, I was aware of Ray Mears and other, SAS survival and stuff, but this was the guy who could be dropped anywhere with nothing and make everything from scratch, from the natural environment. He'd been taught by a full-blood Apache scout. His best friend he went to school with, Rick, his grandfather was a full-blood displaced Apache scout. And the Apache scouts were the highest. Their skills were incredible, their philosophy, the understanding of nature and their environment was absolutely imperative. They were just the top of their game. And grandfather, this Apache scout, his name was Stalking Wolf, which was a Kawakanos in Native American. His whole vision in life was to learn as much of the ancient philosophies and skills and pass it on. And in Native American culture, they did something called a vision quest, which is where you would go and sit in a sacred place for 4 days. You fast, You are allowed some water, but the idea is that you fast and show your dedication to the creator, and they would vision to get an image or a vision from the creator to see if the creator was asking them to do something for them. This was their way of, this was their, purpose in life, was to try and get a vision and live that vision. And grandfather's life was to preserve as many of these skills and pass them on. And in his vision quest, he had a vision of seeing a small boy once playing with some stones. And then one day in real life, grandfather sees Tom in real life looking for flint, and he knows this is the boy. This is going to be the boy I'm going to pass all of my knowledge and skills on to. And he has done an incredible job of that. Tom's written some amazing books. He's not a lot of him on there on the internet. He's not very well known, but Tom's books, if you want to know about Native American philosophy and some skills, his stuff it's really, 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 really good. He's an absolutely incredible person. And one of the most important things that I've learned from him is the sacred 4, but I've called it the sacred 5 now. So the sacred 4 was shelter, water, fire, food. But I've put air, shelter, water, fire, food, because air is the thing that will kill you the quickest. If you haven't got air and you can't breathe, then shelter and everything else is not so important. So air is absolutely vital. And also, if you're in a survival situation and it's stressful and you're panicking, then you need to actually keep control of your breath. When you go into shallow breathing, the pH of your body drops right down. You go into a more acidic state. That breeds more stress. It makes it even worse. It makes you even more uncalm, and it's harder to think. So being able to breathe and just breathing calmly and keeping control on your breath is vital in these stressful situations. It's so important that, oxygen is life. It's absolutely. And I just want to mention something else while we're on the topic of oxygen, air, and life. For you to transport oxygen around your body properly, your body needs to be producing heme iron in the liver. The iron is surrounded by the heme molecule and it's transported around your body correctly. But what actually puts the iron into the center of your hemoglobin is a protein called ceruloplasmin. And what it does is it actually electrifies the iron so it can be put into a bound state, so it can actually be transported around the body correctly. So you need to have a healthy liver to actually transport oxygen around the body. You need a good source of vitamin A, and you also need to have bioavailable copper. And copper's really, really, really important. This ceruloplasmin, which puts the iron into the center of your hemoglobin, it actually electrifies the copper so it can be put into an unbound state, so that copper can build bone, build connective tissue, build healthy gut lining. It's absolutely vital to life. The iron and the copper in your body is so, so essential for your health. So, vitamin A and bioavailable minerals, which is why I personally, myself, I eat a lot of offal, which is not so popular these days. A lot of our grandparents were eating that sort of thing all the time. The reason I eat that myself is because it has packed with full of bioavailable minerals, and minerals literally run your body. They are so important. When they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, it's because when you die, you're left as a pile of minerals. Your bones are made of minerals, everything. Genes need minerals, vitamins can't be made without minerals, coenzymes, none of it can be run without minerals. Minerals are so important to your body. And obviously supplements are great, but they're not bioavailable. The body has to actually, they have to be transformed, which is why the minerals that come from animal products are instantly available to the body. Sorry if that offends any vegetarians or anything. It's a personal choice. So after air, which obviously very important, but shelter is absolutely vital. Anybody that's been found dead, it's either exposure to extreme cold or extreme heat. Everyone's running around worrying about food, panicking about food, and actually it's going to be the shelter that will get you. It's the order. Shelter, water, fire, food. If you're going to go home here today with anything, get that in your head like a mantra. Shelter, water, fire, and food. It's so vital. That's the order that you go in. Shelter, water, fire, food. Shelter is just absolutely vital. And obviously water, can't go too long without that stuff. So obviously finding water, if it's a dry country, it's not going to be so much around. Obviously wet country, I mean, yeah, I'm sure everyone knows how to find water. Purifying it, on the other hand, is not so easy, especially if you've got nothing. An old technique where they would boil water without a billy can would be to get a fire going, get an old, lump of wood, basically burn out a hole in it, fill it up with water, and then you've got some rocks on your fire, you drop the rocks into the water, that boils and purifies the water, and then you can drink that. That's a very ancient way of purifying water before steel was around. It's a really, really important thing to know. And fire. So fire, these days, not so many people have a lot of contact with it, and people kind of dismissing how important it actually really is. I personally myself think that we have never lived without fire. I don't think we discovered it. I think just like we've been given these, we've been given fire. Fire is absolutely essential. Not so much now, but if you live years ago, without fire, you can't cure clay pots, you can't smoke animals out, you can't keep yourself warm, you can't cut down through wood, you can't burn things out, you can't heat things up to change their structure so they become weaker and break them into places. Like the Apache, for instance, where they lived, there was no trees on their land. So they couldn't cut the trees down and burn them, or they couldn't take the bark off and tan their leather. So being able to have a fire to smoke tan leather, like this piece here, this is a piece of smoke tan deer skin. Everyone can see that. It's quite difficult with the microphone, but yeah. So this stuff is completely 100% natural. There's no dyes, no nothing. That's just a piece of raw deer skin which has been worked incredibly hard to get it this soft. This stuff is so tough, but it's just purely tanned with smoke. And this is not just clothing. There's so much you can do with this. Being able to make leather is absolutely vital. Unless you're going to live in a really, really warm climate, unless you have the ability to make leather, you're going nowhere. You can't make clothes, you can't make rope, you can't make shoes, you can't make a belt, you can't make a bag to carry stuff, you can't make leather boiling containers. There's so much you can't do without leather. It's a vital skill. Yeah, fire is very, very important. Just go and try and live without some form of fire for a while, and you'll realize how really important it is. And obviously food is the last in the equation. Air, shelter, water, fire, food. You can go weeks without food, you can go days without water, you can't go very long without air. So if you get in any situation, no matter where you are, just forget about food. Obviously, yeah, for the first few days, it's going to be uncomfortable, but don't panic. The food, you can go weeks and weeks without food. Like, food should be the last thing that's on your mind. Shelter, water, fire, food. It's absolutely vital. And obviously probably the most important thing as well is your mental attitude, because your mind will either create a hell or a paradise for you. So my advice is I already, I can imagine what the crowd's like already, but it's be good to explore your mind, understand your personality, and even pretend to put yourself in very stressful situations and practice bringing your stress levels down, train your mind, understand your mind. When things get tough, you can't have your mind attacking you. Your mind will absolutely destroy you if you're not careful. So my advice is just to do whatever you can to train your mind and understand about your mind and the human mind, and in stressful situations, your mental attitude is so important. And I've also put in there stress and magnesium loss. Everyone's heard that stress is a killer, but nobody's probably told you why stress is a killer. So when you get stressed, like really pretty stressed, your body starts to release the master hormone, which is ACTH. It's adrenotropotoctic or something. I'm a dyslexic, I'm not too good with some of these complicated words. But when you get super stressed, the master hormone is released from the amygdala, goes down, travels down, and then you have the adrenal glands, which are sat on top of your kidneys. So the adrenal glands run on a magnesium and sodium ratio. But when you get stressed, this stress hormone goes down, travels into the spine, travels into the adrenal glands, and the sodium in your adrenal glands takes right off, completely off, which forces magnesium to lose the cell. When the magnesium is lost in your body, your whole energy system, everything, your whole system is starting to shut down. And the worst thing of all is the more stress you get, the more magnesium you lose. Magnesium is the mineral that you need the most of, and it's also the one the body loses easiest. And we are all magnesium deserts. So something I would really recommend that everybody starts doing, and I'm sure there's probably lots of people that are already doing it anyway, is having magnesium baths. You can supplement magnesium, but it might make it a little bit too easy to go to the toilet for you, because magnesium is a relaxant. The magnesium is what relaxes and chills the adrenal glands down. But yeah, magnesium baths, I personally myself think it's essential, because we are all absolute magnesium deserts. And magnesium is vital for your energy. And if you're in times of stress and panic, if your body's ability to create energy goes down, then you're not going to be able to fight off illness, and your immune system is going to be hit pretty hard. So, yeah, trying to manage your stress when times are really stressful is an art form, and I've got my own techniques for it, and I think it's probably quite an individual thing, but I would recommend trying to find ways to control that stress level if, in these very, very stressful situations. Because if that magnesium loss kicks right in, then, yeah, not good. Oh. Hold on. What have I done? Oh. It's not coming up with, oh well. For some reason it's not coming up with that slide there that's showing me. But it's basically a dinner plate with nothing on it that says fasting. I'm sure you're all aware of fasting, but obviously if things do get a bit sketchy, then fasting is going to be very, very important, because going days without food, to ration food, save your energy is great. But for your health as well, fasting is incredible. It's very, very detoxifying, gives your body a break, balances everything out. But in times of, in hard, stressful times, fast rather than calorific intake. If you just eat very, very small amounts of food every day, you're actually going to lose more weight and lose more strength and more energy than what you would if you went a few days without food and then ate a few days in a row and then had another break without food. Like, this has been scientifically proven to show that you're not going to lose the weight and you're going to be way healthier. If you keep just eating small amounts, your caloric restriction, your body doesn't get to go into ketosis, which means your body never actually kicks into starting to burn fat instead of glycogen or carbohydrate. And so the fasting, there was something else I was going to mention about that. It'll come back to me in a minute. Let's see if that's... Oh, there it is. Oh, I've missed. Oh, that's what we want to say. Awareness is another tool as well, which is going to be, I personally myself think it's one of the most important tools you can possibly have. Your awareness to read your environment, to see what's truly going on around you, to be absolutely present and aware is essential. Because without awareness, your guard's down. You need to be highly, highly, highly aware, and this can be trained. It's trained like a muscle. If you don't train your muscle, it gets weak. It's same with your awareness. It can be trained. It can be built upon and built upon and built upon. And obviously, our awarenesses for a long time now have been dumbed down, and obviously we're numbing ourselves to a lot of our environment as well. But awareness. You look at animals in the wild. I mean, look at a tiger, for instance, in the wild. You can see look at its eyes. You can see the awareness it has in its eyes, the way it's able to truly, truly perceive everything in its environment. So yeah, awareness is just, I mean, it's a difficult one to explain, but we don't really need too much awareness in our flat floors, heavy, clumpy shoes, buttons, everything done for us. But if you go out into the wild, you go out into the normal environment for human beings, if you're not aware, you will be in a world of pain pretty quickly. I don't know if you've watched like some of those programs, Alone and Naked and Afraid and stuff like that, but I've seen a few of them, and people get dropped off, they get put there, they've been there for 10 minutes, and they'll just slip down a tiny little clay bank, and their bones sticking out the side of their leg. They've been there 10 minutes, and they didn't even look to go, that looks really, really slippery, I won't stand there. They just go, way, and then, oh. But it's all right because, you've got the umbilical cord of society. But in a real situation, if you're not aware, you're going to be in pain. Your awareness, you've got to become more aware, especially when things really, 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 really happen, when things go wrong. And what ties in with awareness as well is something called wide-angle vision. So we're quite used in our daily lives of focusing on things, here. But wide-angle vision is a technique that our ancestors used for hunting. It's when you're not focusing on anything in particular. Your whole vision is, if I put my hands out like this and wiggle my fingers, I can see my fingers. This is wide-angle vision. And what this is doing, it's putting me in a whole panoramic view. But the benefit of this, especially for hunting, is that you're able to see all movement, but I'm not sending out any of my intentions and signals when I'm in wide-angle vision. When my eyes are actually out like this, they've actually proven now that once you're in this focused state, after 3 minutes, your whole brainwave pattern completely changes, and you're not sending out your signals into the environment, which the animals will pick up on immediately. Anyone can go home and do an experiment. Go to a field where there's some, try it with wild animals, like the commercial animals are a bit more used to us being around, but if you could go somewhere and see some wild animals and actually just stare at them and maybe think something a bit, like, I'm going to come and get you in a minute. You watch how quickly those animals are like, they know, but if you stare at them in wide-angle vision, they're not picking up on your signals. So for hunting, this is amazing, and also who knows what's coming. But if you're in an environment and you want to be invisible, then walk around in wide-angle vision. You'll see everything that's going on around you, and you won't be sending out your signals. And I've also been told as well that it's very, very good for your physical eyes. It's like taking your eyes to the gym. So you go from a focused to completely out. Focused, out. It's really good. It's and for driving as well, I do it all the time driving. It's really, really cool. Really cool. So reading your environment. What I mean by that is I can't help it now. Wherever I go, my brain is just, if I get into a new environment, I'm like, right, okay, what's the floor made out of? What kind of wood is it? What do I get splinters off it? Has anyone danced on it? What's underneath it? How many doors are there in the room? What are the doors made out of? How are they hinged on? Are there any windows? If I had to get out of here, what would I use to break the windows? Are they double glazed? What are the people in the room? How many people in the room? What clothes are they wearing? What shoes have they got on? What mud is that on their shoes? Is it clay? Is it topsoil? Where have they been? Does any of them look threatening? It's just reading all the time, and this is going to be, this is all part of awareness, and it's really, I enjoy doing it, but I personally myself think it's something that you should all start to do and start to practice, just to coming into new environments and just practice scanning quickly. Oh, okay, so if there was a fire here, how would I get out? That person over there, where maybe they from? What have they been up to? It's just practicing to read your environment, and all of this, it's going to bring you some level of peace, and it's also going to expand your awareness as well all the time. I can't stress enough how how important I think that's going to be in the future, to scan and read your environment pretty quickly. Oh. No. So, the fuzz, and I don't mean the police, the cops, the Rozzers, the 5-0, the one-time, the policymakers. I don't mean those guys. I mean...
So, we've seen the fuzz. You can see it now. I'll put it in over my voice. The fuzz yields to my fingertip. Sometimes I come across a stronger, thicker strand that doesn't yield to my fingertip. That represents older fuzz sometimes, or maybe it represents a nerve. But each night when you go to sleep, the interfaces between your muscles grow fuzz potentially. And in the morning when you wake up and you stretch, the fuzz melts. We melt the fuzz. That stiff feeling you have is the solidifying of your tissues. The sliding surfaces aren't sliding anymore. There's fuzz growing in between them. You need to stretch. Every cat in the world gets up in the morning and it stretches its body and it melts the fuzz in the same way that the fuzz melted when I passed my finger through it. When you're moving, it's as if you're passing your finger through the fuzz, just like I did on the cadaver form here. So you have to stretch and move and use your body in order to melt that fuzz that's building up between the sliding surfaces of your musculature. The sliding surface, those shiny white surfaces of the rectus femoris sliding against the vastus intermedialis. So these sliding surfaces are all over your body, and the fuzz is all over your body. And as you move, you melt the fuzz. Now what happens if you get an injury? Aha! My shoulder. My shoulder is stiff now. I'm holding my shoulder. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I don't stretch my shoulder. I'm afraid it hurts. So I'm walking around like this. Last night's fuzz doesn't get melted. I go to bed. I sleep some more. Now I have 2 nights fuzz built up. Now 2 nights fuzz is more fuzz than 1 night's fuzz. What if I have a week's fuzz or a month's fuzz? Now those fuzz fibers start lining up and intertwining and intertwangling, and all of a sudden you have thicker fibers forming. You start to have an inhibition of the potential for movement there. It's no longer simply a matter of going, stretch. Now you need some work. Now you might need to do a more systematic exploration of that place to restore the original movement that you lost. And usually this is the case. We have a temporary injury, then we restore our movement. But sometimes we call this aging. The buildup of fuzz amongst the sliding surfaces of our bodies so that our motion becomes limited. The limit cycles become introduced into our normal full range of motion, and we start to walk around like this. We're all fuzzed over. Our body is literally solidifying. We're reducing our range of motion in individual areas of our body and for our entire body in general.
So like this is what frozen shoulder is. Frozen shoulder is just fuzz that's been built up and built up and built up over time. I really wish I could show the video. If people write this down, you can watch this on YouTube, this video. Gil Hidley, the fuzz. It's really, really interesting. But when you see it, it will actually make you want to start literally getting rid of that fuzz. Because that fuzz goes from small fibers into bigger fibers, to fibers that are starting to weave into each other, to literally like a cloth, a mat that weaves itself in between your muscles, and that's why you can't move so much. So by stretching and breaking up all the fuzz, you are literally breaking it up. It's a shame I can't show you the video. It's pretty incredible, this stuff. But that's why I recommend doing yoga or Pilates or any kind of physical exercise to break this fuzz up. Don't get fuzzed up. Move. The human body loves movement. I don't know if anyone's a Bruce Lee fan, but Bruce Lee said, running water never goes stale. A working hinge never rusts. I'm a believer in that. I've had some pretty horrific injuries in my life from being a BMXer and being a big ego Leo when I'm drunk. And I've learned how much the human movement has helped me. It's helped me stay healthy and helped me heal joints and keep things aligned. It's really, really important. Which brings me into transcending domestication and condition your body. So if anybody's actually aware of how domesticated we actually really are, and how domestication and these genetical changes has happened, but a good example of it is Chihuahuas, the little dogs you see in people's handbags. Can anybody actually believe that that genetics has actually come from a wolf? Like, that's the perfect representation of domestication, is a Chihuahua actually has come from a wolf. Like, all dogs come from wolves. Like, cows come from the Urox. The Urox is completely extinct now. There are none of them left. And it's the same with us. We're domesticating ourselves. We're just, the temperature's all good and the floor's flat and we're not getting into bumping into things. And as a result of this domestication, we're getting weaker. We're getting weaker and weaker, and our bodies are not getting so tough. Our minds are not so tough. So transcend domestication. Get out in the mud. Get out in the woods. Bump into things. Strengthen your body up. The reason I put this picture up here is this is a martial arts called Wing Chun. It's something that I'm really passionate about and I study. And in Wing Chun, they train on this wooden dummy here, which is made from solid wood. And when the first time I ever saw my teacher on it, I was like, whoa. I said to him, how hard can you actually hit that without breaking yourself? And he was like, oh, I'll show you. And he just came over and he literally just went like that on the dummy, and the wooden arm snapped and went flying across the room. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to upset you then, Rufus. So, but I was impressed. So my journey's gone in Wing Chun, and I have one of these dummies myself, and I train on it a lot. And I am absolutely astonished of how much you can condition the human body. I can now hit my dummy, pretty powerfully with my arms, and my arms do not hurt one bit, not whatsoever. And I can guarantee you, the first time I hit it, it did hurt a lot. So I am astounded with the adaptability of this body. It responds to it. Like, if you get an injury and you don't use yourself for a while, your body gets weaker. When you start training, your muscles get stronger. It's the same with everything. The same with your bones. Your bone density will build up when there's more pressure and exercise exerted on them. The body craves it. It craves the movement. It craves the stimulation. And we're just so missing it in our world. And I just believe as well that you're going to need to be stronger. We're going to need to be less domesticated and condition your body and strengthen your body, and the body will just respond in an amazing way. It's an incredible thing, this body. Does anybody recognize that man? Hands up of people who recognize that man. Yeah, cool. So for the people who don't know who this guy is, this is a gentleman named Wim Hof. He's known as the Iceman. He's developed something called the Wim Hof method, a breathing technique. He's broken 26 world records, from being frozen in a block of ice up to his neck for 2 hours without his core body temperature changing. He's run a marathon in the desert without drinking any water. He's done all kinds of crazy stuff, which for a long, long time people thought he was some superhuman and nobody else could do it, some kind of mutant. And the whole time he's been very humble and always said, no, there's nothing special about me. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. And I found Wim, and I could see straight away that, like, no way, this guy, he's a real human. He's a genuine human being who wants to help. Like, with the techniques that he found, he could have just become the best runner. He could have got into any of the sports and done really, really well and been, hey, look at me, aren't I great, aren't I awesome? But he didn't. He decided to help and actually release his knowledge to the public. And I am very, very grateful to this man, because without this guy, I don't think my wife would be here today. My wife woke up one morning and her arm had gone blue from the shoulder right down to her hand, completely blue. I had no idea what it was at the time, but obviously we rung an ambulance and she went off to hospital, and I was at home extremely worried and stressed. And what had happened, she had 2 12-centimetre blood clots in her left vein in her shoulder. Luckily, she pulled through in intensive care, but obviously when she came out, she was on fragment injections, which at the time I didn't realise is basically just paraffin. You know, if you want to thin your blood out, what better than just put some paint thinner in there? That'll do it. Lovely. Thank you very much, pharmaceuticals. So, like synchronicity would have it again, my wife's had this going on, she's come home, there's me, I'm outside every morning, I've got a wheelie bin in the garden filled up with water, it's the winter time, so every morning I'll go out there to chip off the ice, and I'm getting in there, and this is what got me through that very, very stressful time. When I'm in the cold water, everything else is gone. It's like surfing. When you take off on that wave, everything else disappears. Everything else disappears from your mind. And that's what really, really helped me to get through that incredibly stressful time, was getting in the cold water. But like synchronicity, the next day after my wife had come home and settled down, you know, I was on the internet all the time trying to research into blood clots, what causes them, how can I help my wife, what can I do? And I just so luckily found a study of people with blood clots being exposed to freezing cold water and how the incredible results it was having. So I was mentioning it to my wife of like, what do you think? You fancy the wheelie bin? Like, you know, I know our neighbours think we're completely mad already, but like, you know, like, doesn't matter. So, but she, you know, she's up for it. She's pretty hardcore. So she got in the wheelie bin for like 20 seconds one day, and that afternoon, her arm wasn't going so blue, because this is what was happening. Even though she's on fragment injections, as soon as she starts to do any movement or exercise, push the pushchair, anything like that, her arm was going blue. The blood, they can't get around properly. But from 20 seconds in the cold, her arm's not going blue so much. And it was like, yes. So the next day, she's in there again. She's in there for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it was, gets out. She can do more exercise, and her arm's not going so blue. Next day, she's in there again. She's like me, she's getting into it now. So she's couple of minutes, and then once again, you know, within 4 or 5 days, her arm is not going blue anymore. And now it doesn't go blue at all. She doesn't have to get in the wheelie bin every morning, which is great. And I'm sure you're all going to be glad to hear that as well, that you don't actually have to get into a freezing cold wheelie bin every single morning. But yeah, this technique, anybody who's not heard of Wim Hof, the Iceman, go home and check him out. He is incredible. And he has got some breathing techniques which help people with arthritis, Lyme's disease, blood clots, stress, all kinds of things. His techniques are absolutely amazing. He has developed one technique which I'd like to explain to you now in quite a simple formula, so that when you go away and start researching him, you've already got an understanding of one of his techniques. Because he has techniques for endurance and cold water and stuff like that, but one of the techniques that he has is for pretty kind of extreme cases. It's been scientifically proven in a lab. Like, this is not like conjecture. This actually works. This has been tested. They had a lot of case studies in one space. They all been injected with an endotoxemia, which is going to make them all sick. But obviously, all the people that did the Wim Hof method didn't get sick. And the reason why is what they're doing is they're breathing in lots and lots of oxygen, just like a free diver would. So the Wim Hof method is basically you breathe a lot more oxygen in, and then you just relax and just expel and just let what comes out naturally. You've got to get some out, because you've got to get rid of the carbon dioxide. Can't have the carbon dioxide build up. So you're breathing in just basically to pack your body full of oxygen, just like a free diver would, but not hyperventilating, so you're going to go dizzy. But you're packing the oxygen in, do it for minutes and minutes and minutes. You could do rounds of it and then do more, but the idea is just to get enough oxygen in so you can hold your breath for 1.5 minutes for 2 minutes, which I know sounds like a lot, but when you've done this breathing technique of packing the oxygen in, anybody, and I mean anybody, can hold their breath for 1 minute, easy. I did it for 5 minutes holding my breath after only doing the Wim Hof method for a couple of weeks. It's pretty phenomenal. But once you can hold your breath for a couple of minutes, and on the last breath you've emptied out all the air in your lungs, you can trick the brainstem into thinking, oh my God, There's no air in my lungs. This is it. And you will get an adrenaline response, which will be more than like the first time you've ever gone for a bungee jump. And this adrenaline response into the bloodstream, this is actually what's stopped the endotoxemia from taking hold in the people in these case studies. So if you get any kind of illness, a bacterial infection, anything like this, this technique is going to be vital. So I recommend go home and start checking out WIM and learning more about this adrenaline response, because I have done it personally myself. If I feel like I'm going to get a cold or a flu, one of my friends who travelled around Scotland on a push bike for ages and ate grosser things than what I do, believe it or not, he used this technique many, many times to stop him from getting ill or for cuts or antibiotics and things like that. It's really, really good. And obviously it's free and you don't need anything. So if we end up in some of these stressful situations, I think this technique is going to be really, really, really important to know more about. And obviously, if we can do another event, then it's something I can teach people myself as well. The one thing I will say is that if you're going to learn about this, it's not something you want to do every day. It's not even something you want to do every week. Obviously, to get in your body to have a massive adrenaline response is going to use up a lot of minerals, and it is quite a lot on all of the different chemical centers in your body. So I would recommend it's only something that you need to practice, and you need to have done it so you know what it feels like, but don't keep doing it. It's something which it's in reserve for when you really, really need it. It's not something you want to keep doing, but it is something that works, and it is something that's absolutely free, and you don't need to get anything from anywhere to do it, which the times that we're living in now, I think, is a very, very, very useful thing. So yeah, definitely check out WIM, please, because I think what this man has actually given humanity is, well, I personally myself think he deserves a Nobel Prize. I really do. Some of these people who get these Nobel Prizes now, yeah. See a few of those people around? Yeah, there's quite a few these days, isn't there? The reason I just put this up here is because years and years and years ago, you could probably put your head in the sand and you might get away with it. But now, let's face it, if you got your head in the sand now, somebody is going to come and rub sand in your ass. Bug out kit. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But let's face it, yeah. That's my secret bug out kit. I wish. So, a bug out kit. Has anybody ever seen one of these before? Life straw. Has anyone actually got one? Awesome. So, bug out kit for, I don't know, if you're going traveling or whatever, have it in the car. I just recommend that everybody gets some kind of bug out kit. It will vary person to person, whatever environment you're in, but I've just put a few things up here which I think are really, really, really important. And that is one of them, a life straw. You can literally just stick it in any water, anywhere, no matter what it looks like or what's crawling in it or what color it is, and you can stick that in there and drink it. And it's very light and they're not expensive. You can stick it in your pocket or your bag or whatever. But if things go horribly wrong, that there is going to be a really, really good bit of kit to get your hands on. So I'd recommend one of those for sure. And, of course, a water bottle. But the reason I recommend getting a stainless steel water bottle is because if you have to boil water in it as well, it can also be used as a billy can, so you can purify water in it. But yeah, having some kind of container for water and being able to carry it is really important. And obviously, for in your house as well, if the power goes down and there's no water coming out of the taps or anything, it's really good to have some containers in your house ready to gather rainwater or collect whatever water's coming out of the tap while it is. And also learn where the springs are in your local area. Definitely. There is a website called findaspring.com. I think it's still going. That's a good resource. And I have drunk out of many, 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 many different springs all over the place, all over the country, and I have never, ever, ever got sick from drinking spring water. So, because I think it's a bit of There's quite a lot of scaremongering these days. Even, I mean, I live in Totnes, which is a pretty alternative place, and yeah, I'll be getting water out of the spring there, and people still come over to me and they're like, "You drinking that?" And I'm like, "Why? What are you drinking?" Like, "You're drinking what comes out of the tap." Like, I'll stick with this, my friend. I'll stick with this. I think I know which one's going to make me sick. Lighters, cheap now, really, really easy to get hold of. But if things go wrong, they won't be cheap and they won't be easy to get hold of. And people will be killing each other for them. So while they're easy to get hold of and while they're readily available, just start getting a few, start storing them up. I mean, ideally, you want to learn how to do a bow drill or hand drill or a flint in the steel or using a car battery or something. But have some lighters, get some lighters, because let's face it, they are really, really useful and just ridiculously easy to get hold of. And seeing as it does take a while to master the art of making fire with sticks, get some of them for now. And of course, essential bit of kit, a bladed item. I just think it's a personal thing, but have some kind of knife and a sharpener. Obviously, if you haven't got a sharpener with it, then it's not so good. You can use some rocks you can find, but just get some kind of edged weapon, because you know it's essential. Absolutely, absolutely essential. And a head torch. I'm sure most people have got one, but yeah, get a head torch, get some spare batteries, because in difficult times, being able to have a torch on your head, which leaves both your hands free, awesome. I'll use my head torch all the time, but I just think it's going to be super, super useful, because let's face it, the government ain't going to turn the lights on for you. And a first aid kit. Personal thing again, but yeah, you don't even need to necessarily buy one, you could just make one up yourself, but first aid kit, really, really important. And the next one as well, which is probably a bit like a slingshot, what? And it's like, well, think about it. You can hunt with a slingshot and you can protect yourself with a slingshot. A catapult with decent elastic in it, at 25 foot with a 12mm lead shot ball in it, is as powerful as a Magnum 44. Never ever underestimate the catapult. It is an incredible weapon. But the best thing of all is you can use stones as ammunition. Because I see so many people and they're like, oh, I've got to get a gun, or I'll get a crossbow, or I'll get a bow, or whatever. Crossbows and bows, you're going to lose your arrows immediately. And I know they're making crossbows now with trackers and stuff in the arrows, but they'll get stuck in stuff. You'll lose them, or it'll go flying over there, and it's like, you ain't got to walk over there to get your arrow back. Catapult. You can use stones, you can use coins, you can use anything in it. You can hunt with it. It's quiet, it fits in your pocket, it's not expensive. You can store up lots of elastic. You don't even need a catapult. You can just cut a bit off a hazel tree, and so just get some elastic instance. If you just, yeah. For me, I personally think that that's something that everybody should have, because let's face it, we're not going to be getting hold of guns and things that easily. So a catapult, yeah, that's just one of my recommendations. And that stuff, very, 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 very useful, very important. So I would recommend myself, just every time you're in the supermarket or wherever you are, just grab a couple of extra honeys each time, because that stuff is very, very high in calories. You're never going to regret buying it. Who's going to buy all this honey and go, oh, I wish I hadn't bought all that honey? Like, not me. And obviously, if you get unpasteurized honey as well that hasn't been heated, it's really, really good for healing cuts. The heated stuff does heal your cuts still as well, but it just doesn't work quite as quick. But honey is essential. You'll be able to trade it, you can eat it, you can heal cuts with it, and it will last a really, really long time as well. And then if you've got other stuff that is potentially going to go off, then you can preserve it in the honey. So honey, I just think, yeah, go and start storing up some honey, because honey is something, if poop hits the fan, there's no way you're going to be getting hold of any honey. And I personally myself don't think we're up Pooh Creek without a paddle. I think we're in Diarrhea Sea without no boat, no paddle, no arms and no legs. That's the way I see it. Tins of fish. Grab a couple of extra tins whenever you go to the shop. Good food, good energy source. The oil in there, you could be used for for lighting fires to, you know, like, let's face it, if you've got chapped lips, dry lips, and you've got nothing to put on them, that sucks. That sucks. So tins of fish, you can use the oil as well, and then even the cans are useful. You could take the lid off, you could make fish hooks out of it, it's got a really sharp edge on it. There's loads of stuff you could do with the can. You can even let it rust down, and then you've got some iron to play with, mix it with other stuff. But yeah, honey and fish, I just think it's a really good one. And obviously, very, very essential as well, which most people kind of forget about, is just how useful that stuff is. Because it can be used for tinder, it can be used for dressing wounds, and obviously you can use it for what it's also known for. I mean, I could go on and on and on about what things and stuff to get, but they're just some essentials of what I personally myself I think are top on the list. But I'll leave that down to you guys as well for some personal choices. Go with your feeling. So what I mean by that is gut feeling. Everyone knows this concept now, and or when something's happened, people say, I knew it. I should have gone with my feeling. I should have gone with that feeling. And I just think that's something that you need to train and tap into more and more and more, and become very sensitive to, almost to the point where, like, if you're trying to get somewhere and it's not happening and there's been a lot of resistance in your way, realize that and just back off. Something's trying to stop you from getting there. Go with the feeling, tune into reading the signs and the gut feeling. If you get that feeling that something's, go with it. Go with it. Your gut has incredible intelligence. And in my life, there's so many times where I really, 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 really wish I'd gone with that gut feeling. And obviously learnt the hard way. Hard way on that one. How long have we got left, Ian? How long have we got?
10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes. Okay, cool. So, embrace the chaos. So we know something's coming. I'm not sure exactly what's coming, but I'm sure we're all. I'm sure we can all feel it now. Everyone knows. I mean, I want to ask everybody, is everybody else here like actually feeling like there really, really is something coming? Yeah, me too. So embrace the chaos. Let's embrace this chaos together. Like Ian was saying, I'd like to come back and actually pass on a lot more of the knowledge that I've got, because we are really, really going to need to help each other through these times. So I personally myself am really feeling that something big is coming. I don't know what, but something's coming. And before we all get chipped with Elon Musk war child and shipped off into some private prison on Mars and raped by some hermaphrodite Google Terminator, before then, focus on some more practical things. Go and get your honey, go and get a few survival things, and start thinking a bit more practical. And also, I would love to do an event with all of you guys and share a lot more of the knowledge I have. I have so much more to pass on, and I would love to pass it on to this kind of crowd as well, because I 100% sympathise with you people and what you're going through. I know how hard it is to understand, or even just to have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on in the world can be really, really, really stressful. It's one of the reasons why I learned the skills that I learned, because I just always had this uneasy feeling in myself. And I realised what it was is that I didn't know where to get my food from. I didn't know how to get my own water. I didn't know how to make my own clothes. I literally had no responsibility. I didn't know how to do anything. And I didn't like that. I was basically always in a state of fear. And learning these skills, they have completely released me of that. I know wherever I go, I'm going to be okay, no matter what. It's given me confidence and comfort, and I just can't explain what these given to me, but I would love to be able to pass that on to you and just just make you feel a little bit more comfortable with these difficult times. Because let's face it, it's not easy knowing what's going on. Life's hard enough, but knowing that there's a load of crazy psychos trying to kill you as well makes it even harder. So yeah, let's help each other out and work together. And if anybody is actually interested in the other stuff, so this is my land down in Devon. This is what Ian was mentioning before. So if anybody wants to take it further, if we can have a meet in London and go through things like clothing and footwear and food that's storable and different items to wear and different kit and water purifiers and knives and loads of stuff. Loads and loads and loads. The natural health cures. Like, for instance, tree bark. If you get a cut, an infection, you can boil out the tannic acid from tree bark and it will cure your skin. My daughter once caught ringworm, a horrific ringworm. Really, really vicious case of ringworm, completely covered this side of her body. And the way we got rid of that is we ground up walnut husk, put it in the bath, and she sat in it, and the tannic acid killed the ringworm. Incredible. And the same tannic acid that healed my daughter's ringworm is the same tannic acid that I use to make leather. That is a piece of deer skin which has been soaked in oak bark, and the result is a proper piece of leather that you can make shoes, belts, ropes, bags, clothes, shields, anything from. Yeah, nature's given us everything. You know, our ancestors lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years without steel, even without steel. So we can do it again. Everything's been put here for us to thrive, absolutely thrive. And yeah. I would love to pass some of this knowledge on. So this is my land down in Devon, and yeah, anybody who's interested in that kind of thing, you're so welcome to come down and have some experiences. And if anybody wants to check out some of the things I'm up to now, I have got a YouTube channel called Primitive Ways. It's still very, very small. If somebody wants to be my 116th subscriber, go for it. But yeah, so I've got a few videos on there, and I'm going to expand on it more and more and more and more. I'm so new to this world. I mean, for 5 years I've been living back in the normal world, but for 12 years before that, this is the reason why nobody knows who I am. I've been in the middle of nowhere. I've been eating worms, pigeons, rats, mice, hunting wild boar, drinking God knows what, running around with loincloths on and spears. Basically, if I was noticed, I would have been locked up. That's why I was pleased I was in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, mate?
Show me your back, mate.
Oh, no, sorry. I'll have a look at that later. But yeah, so yeah, if anyone wants to check out my YouTube channel, there's some skills on there, and I'm also going to be working on a few more channels. One sort of getting prepared, a bushcraft channel, which is going to be showing you make your own clothes, make your own boots, make your own bags, tents, hammocks, tarps, all stuff from scratch, and more and more and more. So yeah, I really hope this has been helpful, and yeah, if anybody wants to know more or kind of have some experiences, I would absolutely love to pass on some stuff. So, oh, Tom Brown Jr.
Excellent stuff.
Cheers.
Excellent.
Thank you.